that the steering committee debated this decision for more than 2 hours. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
To empower the Congress President to nominate members to the CWC. We had a 2.5-hour discussion on this issue, and the dominant view, the overwhelming view was, keeping in mind the political challenges facing the country, facing the Congress party in its capacity as the main opposition, is to provide for 50% reservation in the working committee for scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, OBCs, minorities, women and youth.
Another important decision was this, that 50% of the seats in the CWC will now be reserved for SC, ST, OBC and women. But the big takeaway was a decision to scrap the elections in entirety. Jairam Ramesh says it will help the party deal with the current political challenges faced by the Congress party. But the truth is that this decision goes against the party's claim of internal democracy. Reports say at least 2 members of the steering committee opposed this decision. But in the end, the majority opinion of scrapping elections prevailed. Interestingly, the Gandhis did not attend the steering committee meeting, and Jairam Ramesh also said that no leaders were taken on video call. But the question is, what does this change mean for the Congress's claim of internal democracy? When the Gandhis were at the helm, the CWC elections were only a rubber stamp. Only their preferred candidates ended up being elected. But with Mallikarjun Kharge leading the party, there was a real chance to hold free and fair elections to the party's most powerful decision-making body, which is the CWC. Instead, the Congress chose to give that power to the president. And to get us more details on this very story, I'm joined by my colleague Niyamika. Niyamika, good evening. Tell us about what exactly inspired the Congress party to come up with this decision, because there were dissenting voices who did believe that there should have been elections. What were the large sentiment that prevailed upon the people in the Congress steering committee who decided to scrap the elections in toto?
Well, on the very first day of the Congress plenary session in Raipur, this crucial meeting takes place, which was regarding the decision of conducting the CWC elections. And for that matter, majority of the members of the Congress steering committee suggested that these elections should not take place within the Congress party, and they have given this authority to the Congress president to nominate the members of the CWC. So this was a long pending demand of various Congress leaders. Even the G23 had also mentioned about this demand in their letter, that there is a need to elect the core members within the Congress working committee, and that demand has once again been denied by the steering committee members, and they have given this power to the Congress president Mallikarjun Kharge to nominate the members of the Congress working committee. Only 3 people have suggested that there should be the CWC elections. 2 of them were of the view that there should be these elections as this will represent the various sections of this entire country, while one of those members suggested that these elections can take place after the 2024 general elections, because many of the senior Congress leaders who were the part of the steering committee had suggested that for right now the Congress party needs to focus on the 2024 general elections, and in view of the current scenario, these elections of the CWC will somehow shift the focus of the Congress party from the upcoming general elections, and they must focus more upon taking on the BJP at the 2024 general elections. So for that matter, they had suggested that the CWC election should not take place. While on the other hand, when we have spoken to Sandeep Dixit, who is a senior Congress leader and who was amongst the G23 leaders who had written this letter to the then Congress President Sonia Gandhi, he had also clearly mentioned that these elections should be postponed rather than proper denial of the Congress president for
Absolutely,
conducting
Niyamika,
the CWC
and this
elections,
was the
because
foremost
this is
demand
something which was
of the
strengthen
dissenting
organization
Congress leaders who constituted the G23. Thank you for joining us with all those details, Niyamika, and we shall come back to you for more updates on it. But right now, I'm joined by our esteemed guest, Charan Singh Sapra, who is a Congress spokesperson. Thank you so much for joining us here at Mirror Now, Mr. Sapra, and taking out time to tell us what exactly happened in the Congress Party's plenary session that you decided to do away with the elections. Congress Party prides itself in internal party democracy. The Congress's constitution says that out of the 23 members in the CWC, 12 are going to be nominated, while 12 others are going to be elected. And this is also the assurance that was given to the G23 leaders, after which they came around to support Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge's candidature. Mr. Sapra, how can you ever call out the BJP when it comes to internal party democracy when you have done away with your own?
See, let me remind you, when we talk about internal party democracy, we have done a very elaborate process of election and a part of democracy. As you already know, that Congress Party has conducted elections right from the level of bloc presidents, from booth presidents to bloc presidents to district committees, district presidents, up to PCC members and AICC members. And then there was a election of Congress president also, which the whole nation has seen. No party in India has conducted such an elaborate and a genuine process of election, which Congress has done. So you cannot put a question mark on the electoral process or the internal democracy within Congress Party. Yes, as far as today's steering committee is concerned, there was an elaborate discussion on all the subjects, the 6 subjects on which 6 resolutions are to come. And then there was a discussion on the election of CWC. Out of 51 or 52 members of the steering committee, maybe only 2 members, they just expressed, they did not forcibly say, but they just expressed about the election. But otherwise, all the other members, they said that
Well, we'll try and reconnect with Mr. Sapra, but he was telling us how they have carried out the internal party elections to elect their Congress president. But this was an opportunity for the Congress party to actually throw open the arena for the entire CWC to be elected by their delegates. But clearly they have chosen a different path, where they have decided that the Congress president will now be authorized to nominate all the members of the CWC. Now, is this going to be a permanent change in the Congress's constitution, or is it going to be a temporary one? But it clearly shows the Congress party in a duplicitous light, because they have often questioned the BJP about internal party democracy and how their president is never really elected but selected. Mr. Sapra is back with us. Mr. Sapra, you were making a point over there. We lost out on your audio. Please go ahead and complete the point that you were making. My minimum question to you was that, the Congress party has time and again questioned the BJP about the process of selection and not election. And today the Congress does exactly that.
Maybe you have not heard what I said. I said that there was an elaborate process of election right from the booth level to block level to PCC level to district presidents to the AICC members. And also the AICC president was elected. The whole nation has seen. The only thing which you are trying to mention is that why there is no election of Congress Working Committee. There were around 51 or 52 members of the steering committee, and there was an absolute majority, and everybody decided that there should be no election just because there is a bigger issue in front of the Congress party. There is a bigger issue in front of the nation, that how to get rid of Bharatiya Janata Party, how to get rid of Narendra Modi and the way his Hitler Raj is going on. We are seeing many new cases every day. So we need to get rid of BJP. That is a major issue. Hence, let's give all the powers to the president of AICC to nominate the CWC members. It was done by the absolute majority.
But Mr. Sapra, you had this opportunity over here to try and shun all those critical voices that came your way when they talked about the cabal and the coterie that governs the Congress president's position for that matter, and that's how the Congress party propels. You had this one golden opportunity to throw open the arena to try and have the CWC members elected by their delegates, because this essentially is your highest decision-making body. And it's not that there were not dissenting voices in there. There was Mr. Ajay Makan, there was Mr. Digvijay Singh, seasoned Congress leaders who do have a say in the party. They were of the opinion that the election process should not be done away with. Why not try and take that on board as well?
See, I don't know from where you got the names of Ajay Makan and Mr. Digvijay Singh. I'm not aware of this. But what you were trying to indicate earlier was about G23. Let me remind you that there is no G23 left. And also the members who were a part of G23 and are now the part in Congress party, they have not raised this issue. They are not bothered about this issue. They themselves suggested that the bigger issue in front of the country and in front of the Congress is to get rid of Bharatiya Janata Party. Let's strategize things to fight BJP. Let's strategize things to, fight the policies of BJP, how they are trying to suppress the democracy, how they are trying to distort the democracy. That is the main thing. To guard democracy is a prime issue in front of Congress party. And probably all the 6 resolutions will come for discussion tomorrow and day after. 3 resolutions tomorrow and 3 resolutions day after. And you will get the whole picture, the way the Congress wants to strategize the forthcoming elections of 2024.
But Mr. Sapra, 2 things over here. One is, of course, the G23's foremost grievance was initially that the entire power in the Congress party rests with the Gandhis. And today there is no difference when you try and authorize the Congress president to decide for the entire CWC. There is no difference over there at all, Mr. Sapra. Secondly, the G23 leaders came around and nominated Mallikarjun Kharge to be the presidential candidate for the post of the Congress president, only on the promise that there are going to be elections to the post of the CWC members. But that clearly hasn't happened. So is the Congress party now insulating themselves from the fact that there are voices, there are leaders who were looking towards the new Congress president to provide equal opportunities and be it a free and fair elections for the highest decision-making body of the Congress party?
See, number one, let me again remind you that the Congress president is an elected Congress president. And it's not that some people favored him. That's why he became the Congress president. It is just because the PCC members, the 9,000 PCC members across the country, they voted for Shri Kharge, and Mr. Tharoor was also there in the race. Mr. Kharge got small number of votes and he became the elected Congress president. So you can't say that there was an assurance given. That's why some leaders of G23 came to propose his name. It was not that way. They came through their own consent. They have given a conscious consent for his nomination. And let me also remind you that now all the members of the steering committee, they have decided that there should be no election. It is an internal issue of the Congress party. I don't think so. Why the BJP or why the entire nation should be worried? And you can't point at Gandhi family also, because Gandhi family is no more in the chair of president. It is Mr. Kharge who is a non-Gandhi.
But Mr. Sapra, is this a temporary change right now? Is this a stopgap situation that the Congress party is trying to experiment and explore? Or is this going to be a permanent amendment to your constitution, which you pride about? You pride about your Congress's constitution, and you have often questioned the BJP that they have never really followed the democratic practice of choosing their party leader, and or for that matter, their top decision-making body of the BJP. But the Congress party today seems to be half left wanting.
See, let me remind you that, can you remember an example where BJP elections had taken place? I have never seen in last 35 years the election taking place for BJP president, but I have seen number of times in last 35 years of my political career that Congress president elections have been undertaken. It was during Narasimha Rao's time, it was during Sonia Gandhiji's time, it is now. Even tall leaders like Sharad Pawar and Jitendra Prasad had contested for the Congress president post. So I feel Congress party has always followed the democratic process. the internal democracy is much more alive in Congress party than in BJP. BJP is just a party which is controlled by two people, a Shah and a Tana Shah. And further, they are controlled by Nagpur, by the RSS. I don't see any democracy in BJP, and they should not teach democracy to Congress party also.
Well, I appreciate you joining us here, Mr. Charan Singh Sapra. And although now the entire Congress party is controlled by Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge, pretty much like you've mentioned and drawn a comparison with the BJP, where the democracy was a strong area that the Congress would pride itself in. And today they scrap the internal elections for the post of the CWC members in the plenary session.